Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Joseph Muscat, Honorable Prime Minister Abdullah bin Kiran, Excellencies, distinguished guests and colleagues, in the name of the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Dr. Nabil Al-Arabi, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting the Arab League to participate at this important roundtable. I am also grateful to the government and authorities in Malta for their hospitality. Few places are as appropriate as Malta to discuss how to connect Europe and the Arab world. It is not just a matter of geography. Successive Maltese governments have recognized the need for a comprehensive Mediterranean solidarity. They have also gone beyond that. Almost exactly 6 years ago, it was thanks to a Maltese initiative that the foreign ministers of the member states of the EU and Arab League met together for the first time. Since that meeting in February 2008, another such summit meeting has taken place in Cairo in November 2012. It was the first time that the foreign ministers of the AU states met together outside the Union. We are now in the final stages of preparations for a third summit to take place in Athens this June. The intention is to have such meetings every 2 years, alternating between European and Arab capitals. An essential part of these summits is the meeting between the Secretary General of the League of Arab States, Dr. Nabil Al-Arabi, and the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Lady Catherine Ashton. Their discussions include agreement on a joint work program of cooperation across a range of areas of common interest, from the economy and trade to law and culture. What we are seeing develop, therefore, is a structured dialogue between the EU as a whole and the Arab world as a whole. There have been a precedent for such a dialogue. However, they have never been a long-term success. This observation about an emerging Euro-Arab structured dialogue brings me to the main point I wish to underline today. We are here to discuss possible strategic alliances within the Mediterranean region and how to strengthen the links between Europe and the Arab world. To be successful and enduring, however, such alliances need to have a clear vision of all the relevant actors. In the case of the Mediterranean, it has long been recognized that it is not enough to involve only those states with a Mediterranean coastline. For several years, countries like Jordan, Portugal, and Mauritania have been included as well. No one doubts their relevance to the Mediterranean as political economic area. Similarly, on certain aspects of Mediterranean policy, the inclusion of the Black Sea is seen as logical and helpful. The time has come to consider whether, for certain aspects of Mediterranean policy, it is appropriate for Euro-Arab dialogue to include the Arab world as a whole. Historically, one of the golden ages of the Mediterranean trade and culture took place when the region was a link between Europe and the Far East, notably India and China. Allow me to remind you of the significant historical role played by the Arabs in facilitating the transfer of ideas, technologies, and goods between the two areas. That was a time when the Mediterranean flourished by serving as a hub of culture and commercial exchange on a global scale. The prosperity of the Middle Sea was linked to the Middle East. Today, we live in another age that has a global horizons. Arabian Gulf countries are active and influential in the Mediterranean economically, culturally, and politically. It is artificial to exclude them completely from a strategic dialogue on the region. Arguably, our peoples are already showing us the way in deciding where to work, where to study, where to visit, where to trade, where to invest. They increasingly treat the Mediterranean and the Gulf as a single area of exchange and movement. Perhaps diplomats and decision makers should follow their example. I have indicated that a good promising start has already been made, thanks to Malta's initiatives to host a meeting back in 2008 between the foreign ministers of the member states of the EU and the Arab League. A further step was taken when a mechanism was established to provide institutional support for projects of technical cooperation between the European Commission and the Arab League. Malta today hosts the European Commission League of Arab States Liaison Office, whose mission is to help implement the work program agreed by Lady Catherine Ashton and Dr. Nabil Al-Arabi. The Liaison Office is involved in various projects concerned with capacity building and training of personnel. In the fields, for example, of election observation and assistance, early warning and conflict prevention, and civil society organization. These projects are intended to bring together European and Arab personnel to help create a desk-to-desk community of practice. We believe these projects, which are the result of a partnership between the European Commission, the Arab League, and the Malta government, serve a purpose beyond the training. They are what structured dialogue should look like in practice. The Arab League is grateful to the European Commission and Malta for their continued support. The Liaison Office is itself part of a broader framework of cooperation between the European Union and the General Secretary of the League of Arab States. we have been working together in setting up a crisis department in the General Secretariat. Our medium-term aim is to set up a pan-Arab early warning system. Its purpose would be to support early action on conflict prevention and peace building for both natural and man-made crises. Cooperation with the crisis rooms beyond the Arab world, not least those in Europe, is of course an essential aspect of the project. We see this project as part of an Arab contribution to global peace and solidarity. Our horizons exclude no one, but it is natural that we should have a special relationship with Europe. We have a common heritage. We share a neighborhood. We are interdependent. We are a community of destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, I have suggested that in order to think clearly about lasting strategic alliances in the Mediterranean, we need to keep in mind two factors. First, we need to recognize all the relevant actors and include them in the process. Second, we should think about the need for structured dialogue. Dialogue means nothing if it does not help us understand how we can build a sustainable future together. And we cannot have a future together if we cannot imagine that it belongs to all of us. The League of Arab States, I assure you, is ready to play its part to ensure that the future of the Mediterranean is one that we are all proud to share. Thank you for your kind attention.